climb at 13,000. And the electric.
They scour the last seconds of the recording for any clues to the plane's sudden loss.
Climb to 15,000.
But at 8:31 and 12 seconds, the recording cuts off suddenly. Whatever happened to Flight 800, the pilots had no time to react. The excitement of the find turns to bitter disappointment.
The voice recorder, and the same with the data recorder, really told us nothing.
Now the investigators must rely entirely on the salvaged wreckage of the doomed jet for clues. If Flight 800 was brought down by a bomb or a missile, it would leave evidence behind. NTSB metallurgists examine the fragments under scanning electron microscopes. They're looking for the distinctive micro-pitting which high explosive leaves on metal surfaces. As a veteran of the Pan Am 103 investigation, metallurgist Jim Wildey knows exactly what bomb damage looks like. But he finds no trace of it.
We looked at every piece, every square inch of every piece, every fracture, every surface. Each piece as it came in was examined in detail for evidence of a bomb or explosion, and there simply was no evidence of that type on the TWA aircraft.
At the same time, FBI forensic experts take over 9,000 samples for chemical analysis. They know that traces of explosive can survive even underwater. For weeks, they too find nothing. But then, the FBI makes a momentous discovery.
Microscopic explosive traces of unknown origin have been found relating to TWA Flight 800. I got a call from our chief forensic chemist at the site who had found some minute traces of RDX and PETN, which are two chemicals that are in plastic explosive.
Investigators finally seem to be closing in on an explanation, and increasingly it looks like a bomb.
It's an extraordinary find. The traces survived weeks of immersion in 37 meters of seawater. They were preserved under a piece of sticky tape joining the carpet tiles. It's compelling evidence for a terrorist bomb on board Flight 800. But Karlstrom is skeptical.
It made no sense. I mean, the initial reaction was, wow. But the facts made no sense. The flooring that was recovered, there was no sign of an explosion.
The FBI probes the doomed airplane's history for explanations. They painstakingly explore the dozens of occasions when TWA hired the plane out between flights to third parties. Then, agents make a critical discovery. Just 1 month before the crash, police in St. Louis hired the plane to train sniffer dogs. The police dog handlers tell the FBI they used RDX and PETN, the exact same substances found in the wreckage of Flight 800. And they also revealed that one of the training aids was cracked and may have leaked tiny amounts of explosives material. The bomb traces are real, but they are not the cause of the crash. The criminal investigation hits a brick wall. 6 months after the disaster, the FBI has found no evidence of a missile strike or terrorist bomb. Now the NTSB focuses on catastrophic mechanical failure as the likely cause of the crash. In the hangar at Calverton, New York, Jim Wildey and his team start to reassemble the 747 from almost 1 million pieces of debris. It takes them 3 months to complete the center section. The fuselage is riddled with fractures. To trace where the plane's breakup started, Wildey first needs to calculate the sequence of the fractures.
All of these early fractures stem from one location, and that was right here in the fuselage, just in front of the front spar, near the bottom of the airplane.
The fracture sequence allows Wildey to work out how the plane broke up. The fractures underneath the plane radiate out, tearing away part of the belly of the plane. With the bottom of the fuselage gone, new fractures race upwards on both sides of the jumbo jet. When they meet, the nose is torn away from the rest of the plane. Now Wildey must find what triggered the initial fracturing. He looks behind the spot where the fractures begin. It's the site of the 747's biggest fuel tank, the massive center wing tank. It's as big as a two-car garage. Panels of aluminium, called spanwise beams, divide the space into sections. Wildey hunts for clues. Inside the tank, he discovers something disturbing. A series of dents in the front of the tank, known as the front spar. It's an extraordinary discovery. Wildey believes the dents were caused by spanwise beams slamming into it. The most likely scenario for the damage? An explosion inside the tank.
This impact damage, it fractured, it buckled and damaged these stiffeners and started the breakup of the front spar and then the continued breakup of the airplane from this point.
Wildey's convinced an explosion in the center wing tank must have been the fatal trigger for the plane's breakup. The obvious culprit for such a blast, jet fuel. Investigators examine the fueling records at JFK. They find that the ground crew left Flight 800's center wing tank almost empty, with just 190 liters of Jet A fuel in it. That's just a puddle in the bottom. It seems a small amount of fuel to cause such extensive damage. But Wildey knows that Jet A fuel has unusual properties, as this footage, taken at Federal Aviation Authority testing labs, shows. In its liquid state, Jet A fuel is not highly flammable. But when it's enclosed in a tank and heated up, it vaporizes, becoming easy to ignite. Now investigators must discover whether the fuel in Flight 800's center wing tank could have been heated to flashpoint. They know that right underneath the center wing tank lie the plane's air conditioning packs. They produce cool, breathable cabin air using hot air taken from the jet engines.
So we have this extremely hot air, hot enough to cook a chicken, within inches of the bottom of the tank itself.
Investigators calculate that the flashpoint of the fuel in the center wing tank would be remarkably low, just 35.8 degrees Celsius. Could the air conditioners have heated the fuel enough to reach this critical temperature? To find out, NTSB and FAA scientists mount an audacious experiment to restage Flight 800. They fill the center wing tank of a 747 with 189 liters of Jet A fuel and fit it with 90 temperature sensors. The plane sits on the tarmac with the air conditioning on for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Then the 747 takes off. It follows the same ascent profile as Flight 800. It's a calculated risk, but no greater than thousands of planes undergo every day.